Hello and welcome once again to the Power Lunch Live podcast. We have three fantastic guests. Every week we bring together 2 or 3 or 4 and sometimes 1 awesome guests to share some really cool conversations and knowledge and ideas and generally have a good time. So today we have 3 guests. There they are. Dan Kapellen, Lisa Barnett, and Richard Kaye. We're going to quickly go around. They're going to introduce each other. And then the format we have is that each one has a topic that they brought. They're going to introduce it. We're going to have a conversation. And what's so exciting about this show is I never know which way the conversations are going to go. They could go any which way. So, and I believe all 3 of our guests actually know each other, right? Yes. Which is totally, my producer on this show is serendipity and random happenstance. We've doubled our staff. It used to just be serendipity. Now we've added random happenstance to the team. And so the guests sign up. I put them in the dates that happen to slot in. And it just so happens that 3 people who know each other are here together. Or they're on this side. 3 people who know each other are here together. And this is going to be a really awesome show. So let's go around and meet our guests. Dan, tell us about yourself.
Well, thanks, Michael, and great to be here and great to see my friends. Just a little bit about myself. I guide entrepreneurs and business owners and teams to show up as the best version of themselves and to show up as a leader in every interaction with every person every day. So my ideal clients are leaders and aspiring leaders who want to get results, people who want to make an impact. I bring experience as co-founder of a high-tech startup, as a solo entrepreneur, and as a business development executive who collaborated with customers in 19 countries. Before I took an early retirement because of the travel was taking its toll on my health, I was overseas 50% of the time. My focus was on reducing pollution and carbon emissions from the exhaust of passenger cars and commercial equipment. So what I say is I applied engineering and marketing principles to create things that improve the world. Today, my focus is more on influencing and motivating and aspiring innovators who want to make an impact on humanity. And I do that in the categories of leadership, marketing, and finance. And today I'll be focusing primarily on leadership, and I have a free gift for your guests. And I'm sure we'll have a chance to talk about leadership as this moves on.
And the guests, can they find it at peakbizperformance.com there?
They can.
Okay.
And yes.
Very good. All right. And next up we have Lisa Barnett.
Hi. So it is great to be here with everyone. I am your more esoteric part of the show. So I am a best-selling author of 3 books about the Akashic records. And what those records are is the recording of your soul's journey through all time. Everything you've ever been or done in any lifetime, including this one, is recorded in your own personal soul's library. So I write about this, obviously speak about it. I actually teach people to be divinely guided by being able to connect to their soul wisdom and get great clarity for the decisions that they have to make. And so I have about 30 years of experience in energy healing, spiritual teaching, helping people to access these empowerment tools so that they can create greater fulfillment, happiness, abundance, and health in their lives. And so I look forward to really sharing how this esoteric information can support everyday people.
Awesome. And last but not least, Richard Kaye.
You know, Michael, you talked about we all know one another. That's the people you attract, people who are playing in a whole different space. So I'm a retired chiropractor, had a remarkable practice in San Diego. turned into an entrepreneur and have been working and playing in the entrepreneurial space for years. And ladies and gentlemen, if you knew that there was a way, or there were ways to accelerate the growth of your business, no matter what it is, you'd want to know about that, wouldn't you? We're going to talk about some of that stuff, and how when you play in a culture of collaboration and cooperation, your whole life changes. I teach a program on the secrets of empowering negotiation. We'll talk about that later. And overall, I invite you to play in a different space than most people play. Most people look at negotiation as I win and you lose. You know that model, yes?
Mm.
Some people play in the second level, which is I win and you win, much better, yes? And then there's a third level. I win, you win, and our cohort wins. How much better is that? I invite you to step into what I call the level 4. I win, you win, our cohort wins, and humanity wins. What if every negotiation was like that? What if every business decision, what if every personal decision was based on that level, so humanity wins? We wouldn't have this crap going on in the world today. Time allowing, we will get to talk about some of that stuff. Thanks, Michael.
Wow, that is awesome. Now, I noticed you have a masterclass going on tomorrow.
I do. It's on the secrets of empowering negotiation. And I'll give you just a little bit of a teaser. If you're watching this live.
And first off, what's the link for that?
I'll give you that. It's richardk.com, HTTP, all that. I'll put it in here for you. Hold on. So I'm going to give it to you so you can post it. And there you go. So here's a teaser. If you knew that there were 7 words which could increase what you get paid for something or decrease what you pay for something, you'd want to know those words, wouldn't you?
I would.
You're going to learn that and so much more for about 90 minutes tomorrow. It's going to be a live program. Love to have you come and play.
All right. And if someone goes this link after tomorrow, will this point to your next event?
There will be another one later in the year, yes.
Okay.
So when you look at it, and if it says tomorrow, just register anyone and I'll update you when we do another one. Yeah,
because some people are going to watch live, some people are going to watch the recordings. So that way we cover all the bases.
All of it.
Awesome. So usually I set up the introductions in a different order, so I then bring someone else up. But it just happens our last person to do the introduction is first person in line to introduce a topic, which the topic you sent us was pandemic prosperity planning. Or whatever else you want to talk about. So what are we going to talk about, Richard?
Anything. Then we can talk about Akashic records. That's really tricky stuff.
That's next.
Stay tuned because Lisa is amazing at that stuff. What is pandemic prosperity planning? There's an old saying, you all know it. If you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. It ain't so. It never worked. You get different stuff. Today, if you do what you've always done, you may even be out of business. I mean, for example, we didn't do this stuff live streaming. You had to have stationary cameras, big cameras, and things have changed. I think you've noticed that. When you play in a place of scarcity and lack, you're going to kill your business. You must step into collaboration and cooperation. A lot of time I spent in the past 24 years is working with entrepreneurs to help them accelerate the growth of their business. Some of you have heard of CEO Space. And later you can reach out to me and we'll give you a way you can get in touch with me so we can talk. Forbes and Inc. say this is the #1 business conference. They said it's the one you cannot afford to miss. Later on, perhaps we can talk about joint ventures and alliances, how to grow your business. When you do your thing and it's encapsulated, your time is limited, your wealth is limited, the impact you have on humanity is limited. When you step into creating alliances and joint ventures and supporting others and working with others and contributing to others, everything changes. You expand your reach, you expand the number of people you can serve, and you expand your bottom line. I teach this program all over the country on negotiation, teach it at CEO Space. Some of our legacy faculty members include Jack Canfield. Chicken Soup actually got started at CEO Space. Mark Victor Hansen, Jack Canfield, they knew of one another. They got together, they collaborated, what a word, it's CEO space, and created Chicken Soup for the Soul. And if you don't know that book, where have you been for the past your entire life? And you meet people who are in the model of you go first. It's not a matter of what can you do for me? What can you do for me? It's how can I serve you? As a matter of fact, Michael and everyone on this call, my first conversation with you, what did I ask you? How may I serve you? This is an invitation to step into your life. If you're not living in that model of showing up in service, just an invitation to try it on. But here's what happens. You're going to love it. You're going to find people want to work with you. They want to play with you. Step into abundance, step out of scarcity, step into your future, claim it, and then rock and roll. And Michael, either now or later, we can, if you want, give people a link if they want to get in touch with me. Michael, I'm going to put this in the chat also, so you can post this as you wish. I have a gift for everyone.
Gifts.
By the way, everything you do is a negotiation. Someone emailed me, invited her to my negotiation program. She says, no, I work with solopreneurs. They don't negotiate. I said, really? Everything you do is a negotiation. Us all being here, we negotiated. I mean, it's not about money. People think money is the only thing you negotiate. No, you negotiate everything.
Mm-hmm.
So Michael was just kind enough to put the 5 free tips there. It's a PDF. I think it's about 14 pages of tips that if you apply just one of them into your life, you'll show up better, you'll play differently, and you will have more fun in your life. That's a guarantee. And if you want to set up a time for us to talk, there's a link in there. Just set up a time and we can explore how to help you accelerate the growth of your business. Thank you, Michael.
And having both talked to Richard and read his skimmed the 5 tips. I won't say I read them fully, but I can say that talking to Richard is pretty awesome, and his 5 tips are also quite awesome. So,
thank you.
Well worth taking advantage of that. And as say about what you're saying about the you go first, it's interesting when I connect with higher level networkers that you get this what can I do for you? No, what can I do for you? No, but no, first, what can I do for you? No, what can I do? And I've had some conversations. The first 60 seconds are like, no, you go first. No. And sometimes I'm in the place. Someone asked me today, who can I introduce you to? And I'm like, oh shoot, I teach people ready for this question. I'm so focused on who can I introduce you to because it's easier for me. And then I'm like, right, I need to let you help me too. But absolutely, yeah. So anyway, feel free to jump in. When I say power lunch, pretend we're at lunch. Just don't raise your hand or wait for your turn. Just go ahead and jump in if you have anything to say.
Well, Richard brings so many valuable insights from all the people that he's interacted with. I've known Richard probably for 5 years now, and I walk away from every conversation with a tidbit of additional knowledge that maybe it's something I had known before, but he brings it out in a way that I have an aha moment, and I look at things in a new light, in a new way, and that has proven extremely powerful. So I'm planning to go to his class tomorrow, and I look forward to it. But CEO space is great too because of all the connections there, and it is very truly a you go first type of thing. I want to get to know you, and I want to get to know how I can serve you. It's not, hey, I've got this stuff. This is free. This is what I can do. Buy my stuff, and you're gonna 10x your business and do all kinds of wonderful things. No, it's not that way. It's all about service, collaboration, alignment. And interestingly, maybe that's where I got some of this when I talk about my stuff. I'll talk a little bit about alignment, but I probably had Richard in the back of my brain when I started writing about that.
Thank you, Dan.
And it'll be fun to be in person again. I'm
Yes.
also a CEO Space member for years, and there's nothing like collaborating, honestly, in person. Although now that we've really gotten this, Zoom or thing down, it is kind of like hanging out again with people. But I honestly, I miss the in-person aspect of, being able to have those deep, intimate conversations with each other. It's always so lovely. But I completely agree. Of course, being part of CEO Space and being a collaborator, it's so important to share our wisdom with each other, because we all have so much wisdom. I always look at it as you're an ancient soul, right? Just having this human experience. And so we actually have so much more than just what we learned in this life. I know, from knowing Richard personally in person, that there's a great depth and knowledge and wisdom that I think we bring with us. And when we can really, I find it comes out in these conversations, in these connections. Have you ever had that experience where you feel like, I know you, even though maybe I just met you, I know you. And to me, that's a lot of them energetic, even ancient soul wisdom, but just these deep connections we can form and support each other in groups, in so many ways, but actually also energetically. And what I'm seeing is that the energetics, the new levels of consciousness are coming up. And as we're starting to really raise our consciousness, raise our vibration, moving into support is the natural step. Moving into being the kind, loving, supportive beings that we came to be, so we can help transform the world through our businesses, through our wisdom, through our gifts and talents. So it's just always lovely connecting and supporting each other.
They say the title it up on the screen is Akashic Knowing. Our souls know one another. It's just this body. I have a T-shirt actually, and it says, "This is only my bodysuit." Our soul. And some people ask, "What does that mean?" I said, "Can't explain it." As if you have to ask. So yeah, and of course you would recognize that because the Akashic records, they're all there. So when our souls recognize another, and then we get to know the physical part, the third dimensional part, it changes. We can connect like that.
Yeah. I've found that since the pandemic. It's funny, people talk about getting back to normal, getting back in person. This whole world that you all have inhabited for a long time did not exist to me prior to April 2020. But I sometimes think about the fact, like, I spend now all my time on Zoom and StreamYard and all these different virtual platforms and connecting with people. My clients are in 4 countries, and my closest client, I think, would be an 8-hour drive away, and the rest are all much further. So I'm in this whole different universe. But I also, one of my clients actually helped me come up with the idea of abundance-minded entrepreneurs, which describes he's like, how would you describe your tribe? How would you describe your community? And I came with abundance-minded entrepreneurs. And I'm like, but that doesn't describe it. I think that's everyone. He said, no, it's not. It's a very small group of people. It's just everyone around you. If you're in the middle of the forest, everything is trees. But you're surrounded by abundance-minded entrepreneurs. That's everyone around you. I'm reminded of that when I go to local networking events. I'm like, oh, right. They're not all these kinds of abundance-minded, you go first kind of people. But it's been interesting for me because the idea, it's like 2019 was this dream of a past life, and now this is where I am and where I was meant to be and who I was meant to be around. And so talking about that, like I'll meet people. I meet people, 20 people, 10 people a week for the first time, but it feels like they're all kind of variations on that theme of abundance-minded. They're all here to help. They're all here to grow. They're all here to support one another. And it's an amazing thing to have found this global community of that. And they've all, you've all been there for a while, presumably. But it wasn't until until this event brought everyone, brought the future. The future. I don't know if you remember those AT&T commercials. You'll run a live, run a live television show out of your basement. You will, and the pandemic brought the AT&T future to us, and here we are, and it's an amazing thing to finally discover this.
Michael, what you say is so true. How many times have all of us gone when we did local networking? Hey, here's my business card, buy my product or service. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So this whole model that at least we know the four of us embraces, how can we serve you?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep. Well, I did that locally, the service model, but no one else was doing it, which made me look great.
Absolutely.
If you're the only one doing that, then people are like, wow, who are you? Where did you come from?
Yeah. And normal is a setting on a washing machine, so we don't want to ever go back to normal.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I don't want to be a washing machine. So, speaking of people who are giving, Dan, you're going to tell us about how to increase your value and impact.
Thanks. As I mentioned, I focus on the categories of leadership, marketing, and finance. And all of those fit into a niche category of new product development. That's what I focus on, with my clients in a coaching capacity. And I'm currently focusing my efforts more on the leadership side of things and creating an online course called Leadership Impact Formula. And I'll kind of give a spoiler alert today as to what that formula is. And interestingly, it aligns a lot with what Richard was talking about. Everybody has a preconceived idea of what negotiation is, and it's really a lot broader than that. And Richard brings a new perspective. I try to bring a new perspective to leadership. People have the preconceived idea that leadership means directing people, being in charge of a group where a lot of times you end up with all the responsibilities. But I come to leadership from the perspective of showing up every day in every interaction with every person as a leader. And it may or may not be even somebody that you knew before. But if you practice the key skills associated with leadership, you're going to get the results that you want. And that's really, everybody every day has something that they want to accomplish, be it good or be it bad. I'll give everybody the benefit of the doubt. It's for good. That's what I want, is for good. There's some ideas to keep in mind. So that gift that I have available on my website at peakbizperformance.com is called Everyday Leadership, 10 Key Skills to Increase Your Value and Your Impact. Now, we're not going to have time to go through all those skills, but I want to simplify the formula for people. And there's really three things that I want them to be aware of. It's value, alignment, and action generates results. That's the formula. So the value is, what is it that you can offer in the way of a servant leadership role? And you do that by listening to the other person. And what is it that they want? What is it that they need? How can you serve them? And you find the areas of alignment. So alignment is that second term in the formula. And that's where you determine where it is that the two of you really want to go, or the other person on the other side of the conversation. It may actually be a group, but we'll say that it's a person. And you can't accomplish things on your own. If there's an impact that you want to make for humanity, an impact that you want to make for your family, an impact that you want to make for the community, you need people with whom you align so that you can travel the road together. It makes the load a lot lighter. And the third piece of that equation is action. It can be accountability, which goes along with the alignment. If you're working with somebody who's attempting to accomplish something very similar to you, or has something in which the two of you have a collaborative skill set, you can take action together and you can keep each other accountable. But the action is so important because you can have all the value in the world, you can find people that you align with, but if you don't take action, you're not going to generate results. You're not going to create the impact that you want to make. And so the leadership, if you learn those skills, the 10 skills in that gift that I offer you, and you practice them on an ongoing basis, and you show up as a leader in every interaction, people will see you as a leader. They will want to follow you because they're going to want to help you get the results you want because they can see how you can help them get the results that they want. And so it becomes a synergistic relationship that has a benefit to humanity.
Yeah, I love that action point. That's been a theme in my life over the last few days. I was in a group yesterday. I was talking about a program that I'm developing, but there's no one in it yet. And as they were asking a question like, oh, it's because I haven't asked anyone to join it. They're like, well, you think that might help if you ask people to join the program? Think that might generate more interest? Like, ah. And then I was talking to a speaking coach and saying, well, why aren't you on more stages? And it basically came down to, I haven't asked. I'm not, and I've got a lot of other things going on. And that's why I haven't focused the energy, but basically comes down to, I haven't asked people to join the program. I haven't asked stages to put me on there. Why haven't you gotten paid? Have you asked for it? No. I haven't asked to get paid. It's like, well, you think that might help? If you ask them to pay you, makes it more likely. They're like, oh yeah. Yeah, it tends to work better when you say, could you pay me? So yeah, that action step is definitely key because I spend a lot of time in that value plus alignment equals sitting and thinking about my.
But that's part of the set of leadership skills as well, because, if you look at those 10 items and you begin putting them into practice, the ask becomes an important part of it. Mm-hmm. But, it's not direction, it's an ask. And like I said, there's so many misconceptions about what leadership is because we've all looked at people who, we've had good bosses, we've had bad bosses, we've seen good country leaders, we've seen bad country leaders, and in almost all cases, we're seeing them give direction. But what we really need to look for is alignment and taking action together and knowing who you can ask action of. Because, the other part of asking for action, the call to action is you may ask somebody who has absolutely zero interest in what you want to accomplish. And there's nothing that you can really offer of value to them, but you ask anyway, and they reject you and it's taken as a failure. When in reality, it was the lack of alignment, which is why you need that alignment piece in whatever you move forward with. The thing that I like about what Lisa does, very few people know what Akashic is. And so they don't come to Lisa with any preconceptions.
It's a handy thing. But honestly, one of the, we believe in soul alignment. And how many people are out there saying, what's your purpose? What am I here to do? And if you can bring that together with people who can support that gift, it doesn't have to be a job description, right? But these gifts and talents, and you take that to someone like, Dan or Richard and say, can you help me share my gifts and my wisdom? You can create a business. That's exactly what I've done, right? In those kinds of ways, because our souls have gifts and talents, and we come in with a desire to share what we know. Like I was saying earlier, I believe that we're all very ancient, wise souls, no matter what we act like in this lifetime some days. but we truly are. And we're here to learn, and we're here to love, and we're here to share compassion and forgiveness and understanding. And to bring that into our businesses, I believe will transform the world.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
And really, how great do we feel when we can interact with somebody and they walk away with a lighter step, and we feel the lighter step ourselves, and that's really what we're really trying to do. And by doing that, think of the next person that they want to help lighten their step as well. And so we have that pay it forward kind of impact.
And Michael, you said you didn't ask. It was Gandhi who said, if you don't ask, you don't get. You got to go out and you have to make the request. And I'm not sure who was speaking to. We talked about, or you talked about, particularly going to networking, and I said, people just, here's my card. You got to build relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no wonder that when you show up at these organizations and you build relationships and you ask to serve, because that's in your DNA, and people say, who is this guy? I want to work with this guy. It shows up so profoundly. And you spoke to helping other people. It was Zig Ziglar who said, you can have anything you want if you just help enough other people get what they want.
Yeah, and I think on the networking side, so when you go and you're like, here's my card, buy from me, that's just trying to take. Like that, there's no giving in that at all, even though supposedly you're selling something that might be a service, I guess. But even offering people the chance to serve you is a gift. I like to make connections. When I make connections, it creates value for me, for my network. That connection creates value. Solving their problems usually solves someone else's problem. So when I'd visit a networking group, a BNI, something like that, I would consider it a successful meeting or a successful visit if I could make 2, 3, 4 introductions. And BNI members are trained, if they follow the training and do what they're supposed to do, to speak in a way that makes it easy for someone to give them those introductions. So some groups I'd go into and I could make 3, 4, 5. I've never been there before, never met these people. I can make 5 introductions to people in the room. Others, I've been part of groups that I was in every single week and couldn't make introductions because they weren't. So like when I go to the local networking event and I say, who are you looking to meet here? And they say, oh, really just anyone. We're just trying to get out in the community. And I'd be like, there's somebody. You want to meet him? Because he's standing here. I can't provide any value when they haven't done the work to figure out what they need. I'm happy to give it for free, no expectation of return, because that brings value to me, at least feels good. But I can't do it if they don't know what they're looking for and don't have an ask. So even asking well can be a gift.
And that's such an important statement. In my experience, being in the entrepreneurial space for coming up on 24 years, some people are not focused. And you said, I'll meet anybody. No, you don't want, you can't, well, you can, but you don't want to sell to people who don't want what you got. Why would you waste that money? I want everyone. No. You want the people who want you. And you have to tell them sometimes what they want. Henry Ford, one of my favorite quotations from him, if I gave the people what they want, I would have given them faster, stronger horses. He changed the culture because he saw the future and he provided that. So can't always depend on what people say they want.
I love that, Richard. I will go with that as my new theme. I am giving people what they don't know they want, that they can really use, right? Which is your own soul's guidance. So
right.
That's my theory. That's the Akashic Record Keeper's theory, is like, let's help people understand that they're so much more than they think they are. They're not just a body, right?
Mm-hmm.
So helping people to understand that we are so much more and we can do so much more when we realize it.
Yeah. So Richard, with your background, you probably appreciate what I heard at a networking event the other day. Now, this is something that's often used as a running joke of how not to ask for a good referral. A chiropractor in an event actually said, I'm looking for anyone with a spine. I'm like, I didn't think anyone actually did that. That's a running joke about how not to ask for something in a meeting. And he actually said that in an actual meeting, but also a chiropractor on a national virtual networking event asked for that. I'm like, at least anyone with a spine in Maryland, or, I'm pretty sure I'm 1,000 miles from you. I don't think I'm your client. I don't think anyone I know locally is your client.
You got to narrow it down your focus. And Lisa, what you say is so wonderful. People, what you said is profound. And that people, I'm just rephrasing, people are waking up today. Mm-hmm. They're coming into the knowing. The vibration of the planet, the Schumann resonance is what it's called, is elevating as people wake up to what works. And we're looking at stuff that doesn't work and saying, I don't want that anymore. Mm-hmm. And when, Michael, you put a group of people together and everyone here, because we all know one another, we offer new alternatives. We offer people new options that most people didn't know existed. Go back to Henry Ford again. People didn't know about this thing until they did. Mm-hmm. At least you're in the same place. Even if they don't know about it, when you introduce them to it with the proper language and the energy behind it, it's like, oh my God, there's something new out here. So thank you, Lisa.
Kind of like Steve Jobs saying he's going to put 1,000 songs in your pocket. And I'm thinking, how am I going to fit a cassette player in my pocket? And, I mean, look at where we are today. I think I've got 5,000 songs on my iPhone, along with all kinds of files and access to the internet. And even once in a while, I'll have the ability to make a phone call. I mean, who would have dreamed it? It takes somebody with a vision and somebody who has the willingness to ask and to find the people who can deliver the pieces for a whole delivery that offers value to the consumer. And in this case, really, for all the faults of an iPhone and the internet, there's a heck of a lot of good that's accomplished because somebody had a vision and they knew how to go about asking for the things that it took to pull it all together.
Yeah. And I was thinking about, you got the three of you here, and Dan, actually, I think this is the first time we're meeting, but Richard, I've talked to you, and Lisa, I've talked to you. I was just checking the dates of when you signed up, and I think all of you signed up to be on here before we actually had a conversation, which means that this got put together when I didn't know any of you or the connections among you. And of course, it's all algorithmic anyway. But talking about how things are drawn together and the resonances, and I've more and more. I mean, I don't think of myself as a woo-woo person, but I believe what I see. When I demonstrate the law of attraction and it happens, I'm like, oh, that might be a thing. When things resonate together like that, I'm like, this might actually be a thing here. And of course, the number of people I've talked to who express these concepts that 5 years ago I would have thought of as being kind of woo, but the results they've shown with them, like they must be doing something right. What are they doing? And all the people I talk to who are massively successful, almost all of them mention something about attraction, energy, all that kind of stuff. So there's something to that, which is a great segue to Lisa. So Lisa, tell us about Akashic knowing.
All right. So let me just give a little definition because the Akashic records are not well known in the general populace. So from the moment you individuate from source, your soul goes on a journey, and everything you've ever been or done as this infinite soul is recorded in what we call the Akashic record. So I like to see it like a library, or now like the cloud, right? If you imagine that every day you had a video of your day, your conversations, even your feelings, emotions, everything you were doing, experiencing, and you uploaded that to the cloud every night, you could go back and say, what was I doing 10 years ago? What was I doing when I was 1? What was I doing 100 years ago? Because it's all in the quantum field. It's all part of source energy. And what I think is fabulous is that the information about the quantum field is helping us move out of, the woo-woo space and more into a scientific space. There is a great man who has written, Irvin Laszlo has written about a half a dozen books. Dr. Irvin Laszlo, he's written about 75 books probably, but about a half a dozen about science in the Akashic field, and really does get into kind of the science of the quantum field and the Akash and how our energy is stored vibrationally. So all of this is getting to a place where it can be scientifically proven, not that we can really prove quantum physics very well yet, but it's kind of getting there. At least we can talk about it. And to me, the important aspect is that it helps us to start to realize that we do have not just one purpose, but we have multiple purposes and gifts and talents that we've honed through many, many lifetimes. And we have soul contracts with people in our lives to support them, right? So we're here to support dozens of people and have them support us back, right? Those are the funnest relationships, I'm going to say, are support contracts. Sometimes we have karmic contracts with people. That means I want to learn and grow with some experiences I'm having with you, which often show up as those challenges. But what I've realized in my, lifetime, honestly, of studying esoteric work and spirituality, and the last 25, 30 years of really diving deep into this quantum Akashic field, is that because we're so much more than we think we are, because we actually have so many more gifts than we think we have, when we can start to tap into it by actually accessing this wisdom, this information, this energy, then our life really just can explode in a good way, to grow and expand. And energetically, to me, one of the coolest things is we are magnetic, right? So if I'm a magnet and I am sharing love and compassion and joy and wisdom, that's exactly right. The law of attraction. That's exactly what I'm drawing to me as I'm giving it out. And that's what we start to see, people coming into our circle who believe the same thing, like all the lovely business people that I know who actually love the esoteric, love the spiritual, love the idea that there is so much more, and that energetically we can really transform the world. And to me, that's the big point, is that we're really here to transform the world in every way, to create a new, beautiful new earth, heaven on earth. So just really deepening into our own truth so that we can share those gifts and talents with people.
Yes, great concepts there.
I just popped a little, if people are interested in taking a guided trip into their own Akashic record, my free gift is in the chat box. You can download it and go on a journey into your own Akashic record, bathe in the river of forgiveness, reclaim some of your soul gifts. And so the interesting thing is that not only is this kind of an esoteric idea, but you really can use it to align, as we were talking earlier, that, about aligning to the work you've come to bring out into the world, right? Aligning to kind of a higher energy and concept, so that we can share that with other people and draw all these people into our world because they're really aligned to us.
Lisa, as I listen to you, I think of the many people who they sort of want to be out there. They want to be a speaker. They want to be a coach. They want to be a leader in their community or their church, but they feel like they don't have anything to offer. And they hang back thinking, well, people are going to think I'm stupid if I were to say this, or I don't know how to do this. And yet, if they research those Akashic records from their lives, they're going to find things that they didn't know they had. And as they maybe just pick one or two and get it out there, get a positive reaction, they're going to want to do more. And it's one of these things I think that can build on itself. And some people really blossom once they begin to realize what they have through what you have to offer.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. That's a fabulous point, because most of the people who come to me, and I do Akashic record readings for clients, most of the people who come to me are coming to me because they have self-doubt about what they kind of feel called to do. Sometimes it's writing a book, and they say, who am I to write a book? Or who am I to speak on a stage? Or who am I to even start a business? Often people feel like they don't have enough information, or they haven't studied that in school. But the truth is, again, you go back to how ancient you are, not just old, but seriously ancient. How many times you've written books, you've spoken to groups, you've helped transform worlds, communities throughout time. So it really is, to me, profound how people shift when they can understand, when they can kind of see, feel, engage with some of these past life memories, even that they have been that. They are called to do this because that's part of what your soul wanted to do when it came to Earth this time. We don't just come randomly. we literally make a soul plan. We write out a whole plan, and we say, I want to bring this gift and this talent and that talent, and I want to teach this, and I want to, support this person. I want to have these children and support them, or this significant partnership or business partner, right? We make a whole plan that we want to share with humanity. And so we are so much more than just, often what we think that we learned in school or we've experienced in life. So well said. Thank you, Dan.
You realize how many permutations had to happen for the four of us to be here today? Right? It started eons ago. And you talk about past lives, Lisa, and I tell people, I used to believe in past lives last lifetime. I'm not so sure about this one. And Michael, you talked about woo-woo stuff. As a chiropractor who practiced for 30 years in San Diego, we used to talk about people who are called health nuts, who take care of themselves. I think we have it backwards. It's the sick nuts who have that medicine cabinet full of all those orange vials. Those are the sick nuts. And, Lisa, it may come through choices we made coming in and choosing this life and choosing how we're playing. And again, most in my experience, because facing which at least I play, more and more people are awakening. Without getting to the politics, is this virus real? Yeah. Is it as dangerous as they say? Who knows? But it's been politicized, I will say, for financial gain. When we step out of that model, which is not a conversation, for this, but we have to take the bigger view. What's chaos? When we look at something, if you look at an atom under a scanning electron microscope, it's chaotic. You got stuff flying all over the place. You step back and you can see the whole atom. You step further back, you see the molecule. You step further back, you see the organ, if we're talking about the body, and then the whole organism. So anything that we perceive as chaos, we just don't have a far enough view on it.
Mm.
Who knows where all this crap going on in the world today is going? We just don't have a far enough view.
And I have to say, the Akashic record keepers, right? So let me just explain what that means, is that when we start to open our own Akashic record library, we have our own personal librarians, these beautiful, pure source energy guides who are here only really for us. You have a library, you've got your own set of librarians. And so the record keepers, which is just what I call my librarians, said to me about 5 years ago, they said, the world will transform. People will come back into smaller communities again and start to awaken.
Wow.
And I used to laugh and say, yes, oh, sure. How are we going to do that? Right? I mean, I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, and you can hardly leave your house and get on a freeway without, being in a traffic jam, right? Probably most of the country. But so I used to think, how are we going to really, I'm getting these pictures of living in a small community. And I actually kind of do. I live in an old suburb here, but I thought, okay, I can kind of see it, but how are we going to do that with the world? And so about a couple of weeks after the first lockdown, COVID lockdown back in March of 2020, they said to me one day, this is how. And I was like, what? And they said, remember what I told you 5 years ago? Remember we said people are going to come back into their communities. We're going to change the way we are dealing with the world, and more people will start to wake up because they're not wasting 3 hours a day, in a car, being angry or frustrated. People are meditating or doing yoga or being in nature. We're waking back up again. No matter what the news says, there are more people awakening, and the vibration of the planet is actually raising. And we are coming together again to create this beautiful new earth, which is a higher vibrational earth. And so, it's always, to me, phenomenal to be able to have this guidance on a regular basis. And that's literally what I teach people to do. Of course, I work with one-on-one with people, but I teach people to access their own soul wisdom through the Akashic field, because I know it can transform your life by aligning to your soul's plan and your purposes and understanding your contracts. And so hopefully that makes some sense. I just popped another, I have a masterclass coming up May 12th and 13th. And I'll teach for 2 days. I'll teach lots and lots and lots of kind of simple tools to start to deep into your own intuition, to kind of start down this path where you understand more about the energy of the quantum field and connecting, right? We're just one big global connected group of people, living and agreeing in some sense on this human experience we're having. And so it's time to change the agreements globally to upgrade humanity, to be able to create, again, more love and compassion in the world, and shift out some of the old agreements that we've had that are based in things like fear and lack. And it's time to step into the abundance, because we live in an abundant universe, and we deserve all the abundance of the universe. And so starting to shift all of these energies, raise our own vibrations, and create beautiful connections in the world. So that's what I'm teaching.
And something you said a little while ago about that, who am I to, who am I to start this? Who am I to do this business? So I have a daily morning motivation show called Morning Motivation, which is 2 to 4 minute episode. And one thing I talked about for a few weeks ago was to flip that who am I around, from who am I to start a business to who are you not to start a business. God, the universe, whatever, gave you these skills, these abilities, They gave them to you, not to someone to take, to you. Only you have what you have. And if you don't use them, they're wasted. And you're burying them and robbing the world of that, of what your gifts were. So who are you to not share the gifts from God with the world? And when you flip that around, it changes it to, oh, I guess I better write that book because God gave me this gift. I better not do it. Like, what kind of a jerk would I be if God says, here, have a gift, share it with everyone? You're like, nah, it's not that great. Whatever.
Absolutely. That is, again, so well said, and it's true. We have gifts. We have, so many gifts and talents that we've come to share. So, that is, that's what I want to do, is wake humanity up to sharing your gifts and your love and your wisdom with everyone. And we'll create the most beautiful new earth, right? We will create heaven on earth for ourselves, which is, I really believe, why we've all come at this time to pitch in and help people just wake up enough to take some of this information out of the kind of weird woo-woo, realm it was shoved into. And I like that you say that. It's just very simple and clear, Michael. Who are you not to share the gifts that you have?
Yeah.
This discussion, are we out of time, Michael?
We are coming. I'll let you get the last word, and then we'll go around and do our final words. So.
Well, I watched a video a few weeks ago of a professor who walks to the front of a class and he fills this jar with golf balls and asks the class, is it full? And, yes, it's full. Then he takes a jar of pebbles and pours it in and fills the spaces between the golf balls. Is it full now? And the class says, yes. Then he gets a jar of sand out from under his desk and he pours that in and fills it to the brim. And he says to the class, is the jar full now? And yes. And then he gets out a couple of beers and pours it in and fills it up. And he said the lesson here is that the golf balls are the things that are important in life. The sand and the pebbles are all the things that distract us. It gets back to that atom that Richard was talking about earlier. You get too close, you see all the things flying around. You take a perspective back. Look at our history, like Lisa was talking about, and we see things in a perspective. What are and what were the important things? And so then somebody says, well, what's the beer for? We said it's to step back in perspective, take a swig of beer, and enjoy what's important in life.
Very good. So we'll go around with our final comments. And Lisa, you popped up first. So Lisa, share with us your final comments, greetings, gifts, websites you want them to go to, whatever you got.
Oh, of course. Well, I did post the 2 websites. I'd love to have people join me in the Akashic field and come to understand the ancient wise soul you truly are. And you sometimes hone in on some of those golf balls, right? Some of those gifts and talents that you truly are here to share with the world. And I love that you said that, Dan, because one of the great gifts to me of accessing the Akashic records is seeing this expanse of who you've been through kind of all time. And you were like, all of a sudden, the little annoyances just disappear when you really see, wow, all of the amazing lives you've had, all of what you've shared, the love you've had, and that's truly here for you now. And so I look forward to meeting everyone in the Akashic field. Thank you for having us, Michael.
Thank you for being here. And Dan, your final thoughts.
Well, go back to that formula. Value plus alignment plus action equals results. And so if you are somebody looking for results, think about those 3 items, the value, alignment, and action, and put it to use. And I put the link to my gift in there that helps you on a daily basis show up as a leader in every interaction with every person every day.
Right. And Richard.
Yeah, just well, it's just a lot that everyone here is awake and conscious. That's thrilling these days. One of my favorite quotations is from the Talmud. We don't see the world as it is. We see it as we are. So when you're looking at someone and they're just doing whatever they're doing, what part of that is alive in you? And what part of that is a reflection of who you be? Download those free gifts, the 5 tips on negotiation. Reach out to me. We'll see how we can help you accelerate the growth of your business and live life to its fullest. Somebody much wiser than any of us said, most people die without ever living. So live fully.
Mm.
All right. And so this has been an awesome show. I have so enjoyed this. So I'm going to give a little shout out. I have some summits coming up. Which you can go to guywhoknowsaguy.com/summits. The applications to be a speaker are, looking at you guys. The applications for the speaker are at that link. And then also the applications to join us are there. In May, we have the Abundant Minded Entrepreneur Summit. And then we're running it again in August. And then in June is the Entrepreneur Summit for entrepreneurs who happen to be geeks and nerds. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then in July, I'm running Haas for Business, which is the Humor Accelerator Summit for Business. So all aspects of humor as it applies to business, because I've never actually seen a summit around humor in business. And I thought I should make one. So I am. But join us here every week at this time, Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. If you think that you might be a good guest for the show, you can go to guywhoknowsaguy.com/powerlunch to apply. And of course, our speakers are welcome to apply as well to get back on. I like to say we have the theme park model. So once you've been on the ride, you can then get back off and get back in line and ride again. And similar to Disney theme park, it is about a 3-month line to get back onto the ride. So I think that's about how long it takes to get on a ride at Walt Disney World these days. So, but this has been awesome. I remember when I looked at when I sent this out, looked at the form, and I was like, wow, the 3 of them happened to align together onto the same show. How did that happen? I don't ask how it happens. I now have 2 producers. Serendipity and random happenstance, and they do a great job bringing this together. So thank you, everyone, for being on the show. Thank you, everyone at home, for watching, and I'll see you all next week.